You know, this movie lied to us with its title. Spoiler alert, there's zero maze running involved here. Yeah, you probably already knew that, and this was pointless to say. I'm an idiot. What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, and yes, like I've said in my previous review, long time no movie review, but I am back once again to review the film adaptation of Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials, which stars Dylan O'Brien, Kea Scodelario, Ki-Hong Lee, Thomas Brody Sangster, and Aidan Gillen, and is directed by Wes Ball. Now the plot, which of course is based off of the novel of the same name and is written by James Dashner, follows the Gladers. After they've escaped the maze, they now have to face the challenges of open road and a desolate landscape as they face unimaginable obstacles. Now, I have never read any of these books, but I have watched and reviewed the original Maze Runner from last year, and I really liked it for the first 2/3 of the film, and then the last 15 minutes came and it ruined a lot of it for me, as it was just sequel bait, and it just turned into the movie being just okay overall. But the difference is now that we have that said sequel that the original was setting up to in just about a year. Wow, this is pretty fast to now be reviewing the sequel. How was it? Let's run down the whole thing. Pretty much most of the same core leads from the first film return here, including Dylan O'Brien as Thomas. Like I felt before in the original, I think he is still a very capable lead in this film. He has fantastic charisma, a nice screen presence whenever he has to take charge, and as a little side note, he's turning into a mini Tom Cruise with the ability to run, as these two guys run very, very well. We also have Thomas Brody Sangster returning as Newt, and Ki-Hong Lee as Nimho, both coming back, and they're, again, very nice. I really like the chemistry that all these guys have with one another, and they just seem like very nice guys in real life. Kea Scodelario also returns as Teresa, and I feel basically the same way about her in this film as I did with the last one. When she came into the forefront of the original, yeah, I felt she was distracting, and here she is less distracting, but seeming out of place overall, in my opinion. Along with the diversity among our main leads, we also have more adult characters being introduced for the franchise for the first time. We have Aidan Gillen and Patricia Clarkson, who returns from her minor role in the first film as our main villains. And frankly, to be honest, I really didn't find them that intriguing or even intimidating. I know there are villains, they're supposed to be hated for the sake of being hated because they're evil, but the problem I found was that their motivations were very cliche once revealed at the end of the movie, and they just seemed very stiff and wooden. They were very myopic, minute, and just had this one phase of just showing off how bad they are. On the other hand, I found the other adult roles that were introduced here very, very, very intriguing, and I really do mean this. Giancarlo Esposito shows up halfway through the movie as this very sketchy but very just very odd character that I couldn't help but just find myself laughing at. He's accompanied by a young girl played by Rosa Salazar, and she's a very neat addition too. And there are other adult characters here played by Alan Tudyk, another sketchy guy, Lily Taylor, and Barry Pepper. So overall, I would say that with the performances of this film, with the returning leads and the additions of other characters, it's pretty cool to see what this franchise has to offer. Now onto the plot, and since this is a sequel to the original, it picks up right where it left off at the end of the first film, which is very good because considering that the audience that it's intended for, it shows that it's just going to keep going with the story. And for the most part, I thought it was pretty intriguing. The Gladers are captured and kept in this facility, but the movie keeps going from where it does really fast within the first 20 minutes. They escape, and they are left in the desolate wasteland known as the Scorch, which in itself is a pretty interesting location. The first night that these kids are left in the Scorch, they face these zombie or infected looking creatures, which play a bigger role as the film continues, and it sets up some pretty engaging action sequences. I really wanted to see where this movie was going as for the cliffhanger that was left off in the first movie, and once it reaches the end, it goes to a bombastic finale. It Ended on a cliffhanger just like the first movie, but unlike the first film, it wasn't clichély stupid. I do have some problems with this film, even for what it does so well with some good things. I felt that some scenes just felt out of place, just for the sake of being different or attempting to try to be different compared to other franchises out there. There are also certain moments with the characters, mainly the adult villains, that just seemed a little too on the nose. But the biggest problem I would say with this movie overall is that it's overly familiar. Not just for the sake of being a continuation of the first film, but that it borrows a bunch of other things from other franchises. I saw bits of the Hunger Games, I saw bits of the Divergent series, and after I watched the review for this movie from my friend A to Z Reviews, he pointed out that a lot of it felt like The Last of Us, the video game, and I adore this game, and now that he mentioned it in his review, I can't help but feel that way as well. But overall, I still found myself to be genuinely entertained by this movie. I would say that this is a franchise that seems very formulaic, but I think that has really good performances and just overall thrills that make it just very engaging to see. My final thoughts on this movie are that the cool, diverse cast of characters are still a joy to watch. The writing, even with the main problem of it being overly familiar with a bunch of other franchises packed in one, still left me wanting to see what happened next, and the action is still as thrilling as ever. I think this franchise is making slow but sure enough progress, even if slight, as it continues on. As I personally think that this is a slight improvement over even the original. I myself was surprised by that to see how it felt overall. As long as you've seen the first film, or even if you're just a fan of the books in general, obviously you're going to see this. But for those who have watched the first film and want to see what happens next, I personally would recommend this movie, as I overall found myself liking it. My final verdict for Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, is 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.